Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Grammar Lounge. I'm Emma, and today we're starting a brand new series all about English tenses, how to use them, when to use them, and how to sound natural when you speak.
Exactly. Hi, I'm Sarah. And Emma, tenses are one of the most confusing topics for English learners. Many students can memorize grammar rules, but they still struggle when it comes to real-life conversations.
That's so true. I've seen students who know all 12 tenses in theory, but when they try to talk about their day, they get stuck. Wait, should I say, I went, I have gone, or I was going?
Right. So in this series, we'll go step by step. We'll compare similar tenses, explain what native speakers actually say, and of course, we'll give you lots of examples.
And we'll also share some personal stories so you can see how grammar connects to real life. Because honestly, grammar is not just rules, it's communication.
Exactly. And before we jump in, let's remind everyone why understanding tenses is so important. It's not just about grammar tests. It's about time, expressing when something happened, or will happen.
Yes, think about it. When you say, I work versus I worked versus I will work, you're telling three completely different stories. So if you mix them up, people might misunderstand you.
So true. And in today's episode, we'll start with the basics, the present simple and present continuous, and show how they're used differently.
Great idea. Let's begin right after this quick break.
All right, we're back. Let's start with the present simple tense. Sarah, how would you explain it in the easiest way?
I usually say that the present simple is for things that are true in general or that happen regularly. For example, I work at a school, or she drinks coffee every morning.
Exactly. It's about habits, facts, and routines. Like the sun rises in the east. That's always true. It's a fact.
And if I say I go to the gym on Mondays, it doesn't mean I'm there right now. It just means it's part of my routine.
That's a really important point. Many students mix that up with the present continuous, which is for things happening right now or around now.
Yes, for instance, I'm going to the gym right now. That means it's happening at this moment. Maybe I'm on my way or already there.
Exactly. Or she's drinking coffee. That means she's doing it at the moment of speaking. But she drinks coffee means she does it regularly. It's a habit.
So the key difference is present simple equals things that happen again and again or always true. Present continuous is things that are in progress right now or temporary.
I love that. And here's a common mistake. Students often say, I'm knowing him instead of I know him. But some verbs like know, like, want, believe aren't usually used in the continuous form.
Right, we call those stative verbs. They describe a state, not an action. So we say, I like this song, not I'm liking this song.
Unless you're McDonald's.
Yes.
Their slogan, I'm loving it.
Exactly. That's a great example of how native speakers sometimes break the rules for style or emotion, but grammatically it's I love it.
Perfect. So to summarize, present simple equals habits, routines, facts. Present continuous equals temporary actions, things happening now.
Awesome summary. In the next part, we'll dive into the past simple and past continuous and see how they work together in stories.
Yes, one of my favorite parts, storytelling with tenses. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone. Now it's time to travel to the past, literally. Today we're talking about the past simple and past continuous tenses.
I love that. Travel to the past. So let's start with the past simple. This tense is used for completed actions, things that happened and finished at a specific time in the past.
Right. For example, I watched a movie yesterday. It's done, finished. You're not watching it anymore.
Exactly. Or she visited Paris last summer. That trip is over. It's a complete event. The time is clear and finished.
Now, the past continuous is different. It describes an action that was in progress at a certain moment in the past. Like, I was watching a movie when the phone rang.
That's the classic example. The continuous action, watching a movie, was interrupted by a shorter, completed action, the phone rang.
Yes, so the two tenses often appear together. The past continuous sets the scene, and the past simple shows what happened next.
Let's make another one. It was raining when I left the house. The rain started earlier and continued for some time, but leaving the house is a single, completed action.
Exactly. So think of past continuous as background information, what was happening, and past simple as the main event.
That's a great way to put it. And one more thing, we often use the past continuous to describe two actions happening at the same time. For example, while I was cooking, my husband was watching TV.
Perfect. Both actions were happening simultaneously in the past.
But if I say, I cooked dinner, that means I finished it. If I say, I was cooking dinner, maybe something interrupted me. It focuses on the process, not the result.
Exactly. So the past simple is finished actions, and the past continuous is ongoing actions or background.
Simple and clear. In the next part, we'll move forward to the present perfect and past simple and talk about how they often confuse learners.
Oh, yes, the famous question, do I say I've done it or I did it? Let's clear that up next.
Okay, this one is a big one, the present perfect. Probably one of the most misunderstood tenses in English.
Oh, absolutely. Students often ask, why do you even need this tense? But it's actually super useful once you get the idea.
Totally. So the present perfect connects the past and the present. We use it when something happened in the past, but it has a result or importance now. For example, I've lost my keys. That means the result is that I don't have them now.
Exactly. Compare that to, I lost my keys yesterday. That's past simple because it's a finished story with a clear time. The event is complete. Yesterday is gone.
So the key difference is time focus. Past simple, finished time. Yesterday, last year, in 2010. Present perfect, time is not specified or still connected to now.
Yes. For example, I've been to Paris. That doesn't say when. It just means at some point in my life I had that experience. But if I say I went to Paris last summer, I'm giving a specific time, so I must use past simple.
That's a great example. And here's another. I've eaten breakfast. It means you don't need to eat now. I ate breakfast at 8 o'clock. Specific time, past simple.
Exactly. And we also use present perfect for life experiences, things you've done at any time before now. Like, have you ever tried sushi? Or, I've never seen snow.
Right. The word ever is a strong clue for the present perfect. So is never, just, already, and yet. For example, I've just finished my homework. Or, she hasn't called yet.
That's such a good point. These adverbs often help learners choose the right tense. And by the way, we don't say, I have done it yesterday. That's a common mistake. We can't use present perfect with past time expressions like yesterday or last week.
Yes, if you use words that show a finished time, like in 2020, last night, 2 days ago, that's past simple.
So remember, present perfect equals connection to now. Past simple, finished time in the past.
Exactly. In the next part, we'll go a bit deeper and talk about present perfect continuous and how it's different from present perfect simple.
Ooh, one of my favorites, because people often ask, what's the difference between I've worked and I've been working?
We'll answer that right after the break. All right, let's get into one of the trickiest pairs in English grammar, present perfect simple versus present perfect continuous.
Yes, they look almost the same, but the feeling and focus are a little different. So let's break it down.
Perfect. So present perfect simple. I've done something focuses on the result, while present perfect continuous, I've been doing something, focuses on the process or duration.
Exactly. For example, I've painted the room means the room is finished. You're focusing on the completed result. But I've been painting the room means you started some time ago, maybe you're tired, and maybe it's not finished yet.
Right. The continuous form highlights the activity, what you've been doing, not necessarily the outcome.
Let's try another one. I've worked here for 5 years. It could mean the same as I've been working here for 5 years, but the continuous one sounds more natural when you want to emphasize the length of time.
Yes, the continuous form makes it feel more alive, more ongoing. For example, I've been studying English since 2018. It means the action started in the past and continues to now.
Exactly. The simple form might sound like the job or study period is finished, like, I've studied English. It could mean you're not studying anymore.
So let's summarize that. Present perfect simple, result, completed actions with present connection. Present perfect continuous, duration, ongoing, or recently finished actions.
And sometimes both are possible. For example, I've lived in London for 2 years, or I've been living in London for 2 years. Both are correct. The difference is just the focus.
Exactly. The first one is more about the fact of living there, the second about the experience or continuation of living there.
And one more thing. The continuous form often suggests something temporary. If you say, I've been staying with my friend, it means it's not permanent.
That's a great tip. The simple form, I've stayed with my friend, sounds more like you finished that period already.
Perfect. So, process versus result, ongoing versus complete. That's the essence of present perfect continuous versus simple.
Exactly. And in the next part, we'll finally move into the future tenses. Future simple, going to, and present continuous for future plans.
Oh, yes, the future is full of surprises. Let's go there next.
All right, we've talked about the past and the present. Now it's time to look into the future. And in English, there are several ways to talk about future events, right?
Yes, and that's what makes it tricky for learners because we don't have just one future tense. We use will, going to, and even present continuous, depending on the situation.
Exactly. Let's start with future simple, which uses will plus verb. We use it mostly for decisions made at the moment of speaking, predictions, and offers or promises.
Right. For example, I think it will rain tomorrow.
That's a prediction.
Or, I'll help you with your homework. That's an offer you decided on the spot.
Yes, and if someone asks, tea or coffee, you might say, I'll have coffee. A quick decision made now.
Now, let's compare that with going to. We use be going to plus verb for plans or intentions, things we decided before the moment of speaking.
Exactly. Like, I'm going to start a new course next month. The decision was made earlier, you already planned it.
And we also use going to for predictions based on evidence. For example, look at those clouds, it's going to rain. You can see that it's about to happen.
Perfect example. So will is more like your opinion about the future, while going to is for plans or evidence-based predictions.
Exactly. And then there's the present continuous for future, like I'm meeting my friend tomorrow. That one's used for fixed arrangements, especially when we've already decided the time and place.
Yes, like we're flying to Rome on Friday. It's in your calendar, it's arranged. The structure looks present, but the meaning is future.
So if we summarize, will goes to decisions, promises, predictions, no plan. Going to intentions or evidence-based predictions. Present continuous, fixed arrangements.
That's such a clear way to see it. And here's something funny. Native speakers mix them naturally in conversation all the time. Like, I'll call you tonight. Oh, wait, I'm going to have dinner first.
Yes, exactly. The choice depends on what's in your head at that moment, whether it's a plan, a promise, or a quick decision.
That's what makes it sound natural. You're choosing based on meaning, not just grammar.
Perfectly said. And in the next part, we'll explore future continuous and future perfect, which are great for sounding more advanced and precise.
Yes, those make you sound like a true fluent speaker. Let's jump into that next.
Okay, now we're moving into some more advanced future tenses, future continuous and future perfect. They sound complicated, but actually they're really logical once you get the idea.
Exactly. Let's start with future continuous. Will be plus verb ing. We use it to talk about an action that will be in progress at a specific time in the future.
For example, this time tomorrow, I'll be flying to Spain. It means at that exact time tomorrow, the action will already be happening. I'll be in the middle of it.
Right. Another example. Don't call me at 8 p.m. I'll be watching a movie. So you're describing something that will already be happening at that future moment.
Yes. It's like you're painting a picture of the future, showing what will be going on at that time. We often use it to talk about plans or routines that will be true in the future, too.
Exactly. Like, next week, I'll be working late every night. That's not about one moment, it's about an ongoing situation in the future.
Perfect. Now, the future perfect is different. Will have plus past participle. It describes something that will be completed before a certain time in the future.
Right. For example, by next Friday, I'll have finished this project. That means the project will be complete before next Friday arrives.
Exactly. So you're looking back from a point in the future, thinking about what will already be done.
I like that. It's like time travel. You imagine yourself in the future, looking back at something that's already finished.
That's such a good image. Another example, in 10 years, I'll have bought my own house. So the buying will happen before that future point.
Yes, and we often use it with phrases like by the time, by next week, by the end of the year, or before I turn 30.
Exactly. And here's something interesting. You can also combine them. By this time next year, I'll have been working here for 5 years. That's future perfect continuous. It focuses on how long something will have been happening.
Yes, it sounds advanced, but it's logical. Will have been plus verb ing. It means the action will continue up to that future point. For example, by December, she'll have been studying for 6 months.
So, to sum up, future continuous equals something that will be happening at a certain future time. Future perfect equals something that will be completed before a certain future time. Future perfect continuous equals the duration of something continuing until that point.
Exactly. Sounds advanced, but with examples, it becomes clear. And in the next part, we'll look at used to, would, and be used to. Great ways to talk about habits and the past.
Yes, one of my favorite topics because it helps students sound so natural when telling stories. Let's get into that next.
All right, time for another super practical topic. Used to, would, and be used to. These are small expressions, but they make a huge difference when you talk about the past naturally.
Yes, let's start with used to. We use used to plus verb to talk about past habits or situations that no longer happen. For example, I used to play the piano when I was a kid. That means I played it before, but I don't anymore.
Exactly. It's like saying, that was true in the past, but not now. Another example, there used to be a cinema here. So in the past there was one, but now it's gone. Perfect. It's also important to remember the structure. W-Y, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I used to go. X, I used to go. That's a common mistake. And for negatives, we say I didn't used to, not used. Like, I didn't used to like coffee. Right, and questions too. Did you used to live in London? So even though it looks like the past, the auxiliary did takes care of the past form.
Now let's talk about would. We can also use would plus verb to talk about past repeated actions, but not past states. For example, when I was little, my dad would take me fishing every weekend. That's a repeated action, something that happened again and again.
Exactly. But you can't say I would live in Paris to mean I lived there before, because would doesn't describe states, only actions.
That's a key difference. So used to equals past habits or states, no longer true. Would equals repeated past actions.
Perfect summary. Now the third one, be used to. This one looks similar, but the meaning is completely different.
Yes, be used to means to be familiar or comfortable with something. For example, I'm used to waking up early. That means waking up early is normal for me now.
Right. And notice that after be used to, we use a noun or ing form, not the base verb. I'm used to working late. I'm used to work late.
That's such an easy mistake to make. So to sum it all up, used to plus verb equals past habit or state, not true now. Would plus verb equals repeated past actions. Be used to plus noun or verb ing equals being familiar with something.
Exactly. 3 similar-looking structures, but 3 different meanings. And in the next part, we'll move on to modals of obligation and advice. Must, have to, should, ought to, and more.
Yes, that's going to help with expressing rules, duties, and good advice, something every learner needs. Let's go there next. Okay, now let's talk about one of the most useful and confusing parts of English grammar, modals of obligation and advice. We're talking about words like must, have to, should, and ought to.
Yes, these words help us express how necessary something is or how strongly we recommend something. They sound similar, but the strength of the meaning changes.
Exactly. Let's start with must. Must means strong obligation, something you're required to do, or something very important. For example, you must wear a seatbelt. It's not optional.
Right. And we also use must for strong personal recommendations or logical conclusions, like you must try this cake, or you must be tired after such a long trip.
Yes, that last one is not an order, it's a logical guess. So, must can mean obligation or certainty, depending on the context.
Now, have to also shows obligation, but it's a bit more external. For example, I have to go to work at 8. That's a rule or schedule, not a personal choice.
Exactly. So, the difference is must equals internal or personal obligation, like I feel I must do it. Have to equals external obligation, a rule, law, or necessity.
Perfect. Now, should and ought to are softer. They express advice or recommendation, not strict obligation. Like, you should see a doctor. It's good advice, not a rule.
Yes, ought to means almost the same, but it's a bit more formal and less common in everyday speech. You ought to apologize sounds polite and serious.
Right. And then there's mustn't versus don't have to. They're completely different. You mustn't park here means it's forbidden, but you don't have to park here means it's optional.
Yes, that's one of the biggest confusions for learners. So, mustn't equals prohibition. Don't have to equals no obligation.
Exactly. And shouldn't is similar. It's advice not to do something, but it's not a rule. Like, you shouldn't eat too much sugar.
Right. So, to sum up, must have to equals strong obligation, should, ought to equals advice, mustn't equals prohibition, don't have to equals not necessary.
That's a perfect summary. And in our final part, we'll wrap everything up by reviewing all the tenses and giving you a few tips on how to actually use them naturally in conversation.
Yes, we'll talk about how to think in English when choosing a tense, not just memorize rules. That's coming up next. Wow, we've covered all 12 tenses. That was quite a journey, wasn't it, Sarah?
Absolutely. At first, English tenses can look really confusing, but once you see the logic, it all makes sense.
Exactly. It's all about time and perspective. When learners understand when something happens and how it connects to the present or past, everything starts to click.
Right. Let's do a quick summary. Present tenses, things happening now or regularly. Past tenses, completed actions or habits from before. Future tenses, predictions, plans, or promises.
And don't forget, continuous forms show ongoing actions, perfect forms show completed actions with connection to another time, and perfect continuous forms show both duration and completion.
Exactly. My advice for learners is don't just memorize rules. Practice speaking and listening. Pay attention to how native speakers use tenses in movies, podcasts, or conversations.
And make mistakes. Every mistake is a chance to improve. That's how you really internalize tenses.
That's a perfect way to end today's episode.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends who are learning English.
And stay tuned. In our next episode, we'll dive into modal verbs like can, should, must, and might. They're small but super powerful.
See you next time, and remember, every tense tells a story.
Bye for now.